needs no introduction that we have been anticipating for her arrival. Show your excitement, author of Radical Confidence and co-founder of Quest Nutrition, billion-dollar company. Put your hands together for Lisa Bilyeu. Oh my God, Lisa. Oh my God, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you now.
All right. I literally was like, I did not expect that greeting. Guys, that was freaking amazing. You guys are way too sweet.
Oh my God, what a privilege to have you, Lisa. We have been reading your book for a few weeks, and then next thing is like, oh my God, Lisa's gonna come in. Holy shit.
You guys are way too kind. I'm the one that feels super freaking honored to be here. You guys holding up the book. You have no idea. Like when I wrote the book, it really was, I need this to actually change people's lives. Like I didn't think of myself as an author. I'd never written a book before. I had utter imposter syndrome come in that was like, who do you think you are, Lisa, to write a book? Who the hell is going to buy it, from you? And I just kept focusing on the fact that maybe that's going to change people's lives. And that was really my freaking North Star. So honestly, guys, when I say you have no idea how much this means to me, you have no idea how much this means to me. Like truly. So thank you for having me. I am literally here to serve you guys however I can support.
Yes. Oh my God. So Lisa, the way you've written the book, because it's like no filter, like straight out with honesty, it's hitting home for so many of us. I have never seen. So Lisa, I've been running this book club since the start of the year, and we've gone through different books. And I have never got this type of interaction from reading a book. Like all these girls, mostly girls, all the girls are like, oh my God, it's really hitting home for them. And I'm seeing the confidence actually change just week by week. It's like, I read this book and they're like, this line hit me so hard, and they are sharing in the chat, they're sharing with the community. And it's literally, you are changing life, and you are changing our life just by being here. So thank you.
Oh man, thank you. Like literally the energy is so amazing. And your energy, homie, like I freaking dig it, girl. Like this is amazing.
Guys, if you have a question for Lisa, put your hand up.
Yeah,
Let's hit Lisa up with some questions. Yes, let's go first. We've got
and you may already know, if you've read most of the book, that I'm definitely not filtered. So there's no question off limits. I don't take offense to anything. So you can literally ask whatever you like. I actually just want to serve. So the more transparent and vulnerable and honest you guys can be, the more I think that we're going to change at least the people's lives on this call. So
fantastic. All right. So keep it short and sharp, guys. All right. So I will cue you and then you just unmute yourself and speak. All right. So Jill.
Me. Hi, Lisa.
Whatever.
Yay, I'm in a camper van in the south of France, and it's early in the morning. Yeah,
holy smokes, even more dedicated.
Yay! Before a question, just a very funny story, because difference between English and American language. For the first couple of chapters, I was thinking, homie, that's me. I'm a stay-at-home mum and a wife. And then I realized that you actually meant something completely different. So anyway, there you go.
That's super fascinating. Thank you for that feedback. Actually, I actually had one of my friend's mothers. My friend hit me up and was like, my 90-year-old mother asked me what homie meant. And I was like, oh my God, that's so damn cute. And so I definitely try to, even in the book, you may notice where I may mention certain things. I'm like, my flatmate. For you Americans, that means roommate, because it was very important to me to still speak the language that I grew up in, the language that really resonates with me. So I'm a Brit through and through, homie.
So anyway, so yeah, my question. So one thing that really hit me in a Calm's talk about this was the purgatory, the mundane, and that's definitely me. Comfortable but not engaged, grateful but also unhappy. But you talk about using successful people as motivation, and throughout this book there's so many things that I relate to: the stay-at-home wife, major health issues, people pleaser, fear of failing. It goes on, even to the point it made me laugh because I've actually got an undercut haircut where I've got my I like to feel the bristle,
Yeah.
Yay. And though I don't have the Wonder Woman logo, can't do that.
Yet.
Thinking about getting my daughter to try that one. So anyway, so it's just to say that you give me lots of motivation to take action despite being scared. But my question to you is, who motivates you and why?
Oh, I love this question. I'm very, I think it depends on what I'm trying to do. So there's different areas of my life where I'll admire different people for different types of reasons. So like, I really admire Sarah Blakely. So it's the founder of Spanx. You guys may or may not know her. And I so admire her as a businesswoman. And actually, she was one of the people that I looked up to when I was trying to make the decision about having kids, because she had like 4 children. So it's like, here she is, she's got 4 children. She's got a husband kind of like mine that's very ambitious, that is, you know, very energetic. And she's also, I think of her as an alpha. So I'm like, oh, she's fascinating, right? She's built her own billion-dollar business. She's an alpha woman married to an alpha guy. She has these kids. And so as I started to process, oh, well, I so admire her. She's got kids. Maybe I should too. And this is where maybe this isn't even the question you were asking, but there's an admiration you can have, but you also always need to be a little careful that you don't fall into copying someone because it's right for them. Because as I started to look at Sarah Blakely, I was like, oh my God, oh, okay, it can be done, right? First of all, I was like, oh, it can't be done. You can't have everything. It's like, oh, she makes it work. I'm not going to say it's easy, but she makes it work. I'm not looking for easy. So I always like just throw that out. But she makes it work. So if she makes it work, I can too. But then I had to go, but there's a difference between you can and do you want to? And so anyone that I look up to, I also have to be very careful of what that specific thing is. And sometimes I look at, like, she actually helped me decide that I didn't want children because I saw that it was possible. And I was like, but I'm sure she has to split her time. So if she has to split her time, is that the life I want? And I decided no. So Sarah Blakely, someone that I very much looked up to. I look up to Oprah when I think about as a host, what I'm trying to do with my own career. Oprah wasn't just a host. She built a damn empire. And so when I think about how her trajectory of her career, I think of myself as I put myself in front of the camera and I'm a host, but is much more for a bigger picture. Like, it is in service of my mission. I didn't get in front of the camera first and then develop my mission. I developed my mission and then realized, oh shit, Lisa, you need to get in front of the camera. So as I start to do that, I look at the people then who inspire me. If I have to get in front of the camera, who do I think does an amazing job? I look at Oprah. I see how she turned that into a business model. And then the current person that I am like obsessed with is Reese Witherspoon. She started off as an actress. She started off as like the apple of, oh God, what was the guy that she dated that was like super famous that like everyone was like, oh, anyone?
Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Ryan Phillippe, well done. Yeah. Right, and so now, so she becomes an actress. She starts to be known as his sidekick. And then she's like, I'm just so fucking good, you can't ignore me. And so she puts on her business hat. She thinks beyond just being an influencer. How can I take the weight? How can I think through this from a strategy? And I don't know this, but if I would step into her shoes, I think she probably thought, how do I own Hollywood? And she was like, oh, own the IP. How do I own the IP? Buy the rights to the book. How do I know what to make into a movie that's actually going to succeed? Let me start a book club. So like, she fucking understood the business model of what she was trying to get to as like in 5 or 10 years. So whenever I think about what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go, I try to do an audacious call your freaking shot and then backtrack into what does that mean in 1 year's time, in 2 years' time, in 5 years' time. Who is doing that? How do I then model it? But then how do I do it the true Lisa way? So those were just 3 people that I could tell you of why I admire them in very different ways and how I've learned lessons that I need to learn by going after the people that serve me. And that's been how I've been able to keep showing up. And I don't know if you guys are at this part yet, but I talk about the fact that I use Oprah as that way, because anytime that I fail or I do something wrong, I can get in my own way. As you probably already know by reading the book, right? I can get in my own way with my own emotions. And so how do I not freaking get in my way? I have to create a plan. I have to, rinse and repeat. I have to call myself out on my own shit. And then I also have to look at people that didn't stop when I did or when I want to, right? And then again, you look at Oprah, when you think about the fact of how much she had to overcome, the time that she came up in the world, the fact that she was, African-American, a female, like back in the day on the news. It's like, homie, if Oprah can do it, I ain't got a freaking excuse, period. And calling myself on it helps me then level up.
That is so cool. All right, Kathy, Ryan.
I'm so nervous. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for answering the question. But I'm most excited to have your book because I like how you do the book. It's all about I can, the steps of, taking back the confidence in your life. And I really appreciate that you've made this book because it's very it's actually surprisingly very practical. And it's also, it's practical, it's relatable because you've got all the stories. But I think most of all, it's just like you got to step out from your comfort zone, man. Like I resonate that so much. And thank you so much for the opportunity and for coming in here today.
Oh, cool.
I have one question for you. So sometimes when we are being superwoman, we do get that slump, that really meh feeling, and you just felt like, you're just too tired to be strong, too tired to give a shit, and you just want it to disappear. And sometimes you have to keep doing all of the business, all the family stuff, and all the things in your life, but you still have the slump. And it's almost like maybe to the point of being, I don't know, would you say depressed? But you just have to keep going because sometimes you just felt like, flip the table, fuck this shit, whatever you've said. So sorry, I know I know, I like how you said at the start, don't, don't restrict the language. So I do swear, like I say, a little bit. So
Dude, when I tell you I got my manuscript back with freaking red lines through everything, they were cutting out every swear word under the sun. They were turning all my fucks into frickins. And I'm like, guys, you can't just turn a fuck into a frickin. It doesn't work like
it's
that.
It's not the same, right?
And then they start spelling frickin' wrong. I'm like, you can't throw a C in frickin'. Like, so that became like a whole thing in and of itself. So you can swear away at least to me because I'm with your homie.
Thank you.
All right,
and sorry, I lost the question. What was the question?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, what was
the
the
question?
Is,
what do you do when you go into that slump? You're just too tired.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
give a shit. Don't, just like meh. Like,
Yeah, this is great because I'm going to give you two answers. You got to get good at knowing when to be like, yeah, I'm not going to fucking do anything. I have every right to sit on my ass right now, smoke weed, drink a glass of wine, watch Real Housewives, whatever it is that is your jam. Like, you have every damn right to do that, and you should. And sometimes if that's what you need, maybe that's all you need. But set a damn timer. And once that timer goes off, you get your ass back up, period. And so this becomes a knowing what you need in certain situations, and you're not going to know it automatically. So you're going to have to practice, right? You're going to have to get good at going, okay, I really felt like shit. I took time off and actually made me feel worse. Interesting. I actually felt worse, even though I did a timer. Why do I think that was? Or go, at a time that I felt like shit, I pushed through it, and thank God I pushed through it and didn't sit on my ass. Okay, what was it in that moment that enticed you to push through it? And now what can you tell yourself next time to then assess whether this is a time to keep pushing through or this is a time to, get your foot off the gas? Just right now, I say, spend time getting to know yourself and getting to know your own behaviors. Because then you'll be able to start to pivot once you start to identify those flags. Now, for me, because I suffer from such bad health issues, my health is the thing that becomes the signal. So as I start to get really tired, in fact, this happened today. I'm actually around a few people. I was like, ask these guys, but then they're working. I literally blanked out twice today where I forgot a word. It literally fell out of my head. And I was like, guys, the fucking word, like the word. And everyone's like, oh, you mean this? I'm like, my God, how the hell did that word fall out of my head? Okay, that's a sign. That's a sign, Lisa, that you're actually working too hard. Or in fact, that's a sign. Now, what is that sign? Is it I'm working too hard? I'm not sleeping enough. I'm not having the right nutrients. I haven't sat out in the sun for my vitamin D. Like, I actually have these things that when I start to identify the flags, which is my cognitive behavior, I used to feel really badly. I would be so damn embarrassed to admit that I forgot something. And now I go, oh my God, being embarrassed means you're going to ignore it. If you can go, this is my superpower. I have flags that wave in my face. And my superpower is I now recognize those flags. So my mind, words dropping out of my head is the one of the things that I've identified means that I need to now lean more into self-care. And then again, I have my list: food, right? Diet, nutrition, sleep, vitamin D, supplements, all of these things I write down and I just go by one. Have I had enough sleep? Actually, yeah. Okay, so it's not sleep. Have I had the right food? Oh, actually, you know what? I did eat cake 3 days in a row. Okay, maybe it's the cake that isn't helping you with your cognitive behavior. And so in moments of that slump, if you put in the practice, right? You want to you're asking me, how do I win a championship game, Lisa? And I'm saying, you've got to put it in the reps. You got to step on the pitch. You got to take the hits to the face. You're going to have to practice. You're going to fall on your face. You have to get back up. But if this is truly what you want, to be able to identify when I hit those slumps, how do I respond? You have to put in the work to get to know yourself, to then know how to then show up. But it's never going to be one or the other. I'm never just going to say, take the time. You may just stay there, purgatory of the mundane. Or no, push through it, homie. Sometimes that's going to crash and burn you, like my health. And it's taken me freaking 6 years to get back on the path. So burnout isn't an option for me either.
Hey, Lisa, we've got a lot of hands. How long do we have you for?
The funny thing is, I actually had a meeting that got cancelled. So you guys happen to be somewhat lucky. I think I've got longer.
Oh my God. Yes.
I know. And the truth is, I am so honored to be here that I want to make sure I bring value to you guys. Just looking at my calendar, 1 second. All right, I can do until 4:30. So you've got another 25 minutes.
Oh, this is so epic. Awesome. That is so amazing.
Thank you so much for answering my question.
All right, Leona,
and to be honest, I feel like I owe you guys because I know that I can talk a lot as well. But can someone please warn me though when it does get to 4:25 on my end so I can wrap up the 5 minutes to say goodbye. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa. Nice to meet you. I actually
Nice to meet you.
resonate so much with your book. I actually literally spent my Sunday, just spent 5 hours, finish all your book. Yeah, I actually didn't know you're from London. Yeah, and I just have one question to ask you. How do you overcome the challenge to talk to your mother that make you feel weak, even though you love your mother? And I also have this challenge to actually talk to my mom because my mom is coming from a very conservative kind of family, and whenever I talk to her, I felt, I devalue myself and I feel so weak. Yeah, how do you actually overcome that challenge of talking to your mom? Yeah, actually make you feel weak. Yeah, another way she question you is make her feel like she feel like a mother.
What was that last thing? Sorry?
Yeah, because when she actually you make a phone call to your mother, you actually wrote that you felt weak. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for this question. This is really nuanced, and I'm going to put a caveat to say that I have the type of relationship with my mom where I can say the hard thing. So I don't want to just assume, oh, my wife's going to fix all of your problems and you're going to have an amazing relationship with your mother. You can't change people.
Oh.
Trust me, guys, that is the hardest statement for me to say out loud because I've dedicated my life to trying to change people, right? So it's like, how can I say that and yet still show up every day? It's that at least you have to want it. That's the key. You have to want to change. And homie, I'm here for you. But I don't know what your mum's like. And so if I say to you, this is how you should approach your mum, right? Having grace, saying, hey, mum, when you say X, Y, and Z, it actually does upset me. Here's why it upsets me. I know you don't mean to, right? Because you never want to come at your mum. So you never want them to feel like you're blaming them for anything. And so there's certain ways to approach it. Yeah. So like with my mum, it was like, because I know my mum, I could have that type of discussion with my mum. Even if she disagreed, she wouldn't disrespect me. And there are some mothers that may not mean to, but culturally, traditionally, like you get an old traditional Greek woman, forget it. Luckily, my mom's not a traditional Greek, but you get a very traditional Greek woman. There's no way I could have that conversation with her. So I just think that before I give you advice, anyone, you got to know who you're talking to, and you got to be honest about where they are. So what I would say is, A, do they have a growth mindset?
Okay, that's awesome. I really like your answer. Thank you for that.
Of course, because if they don't, no matter how much you try to talk in the way that I'm talking to you guys, they're going to dismiss you. I've had that with, oh, you in your growth mindset. Like, I actually get people mocking me. You in your growth mindset, this crap again. I've had people say that.
Yeah.
So you can imagine in that moment, am I going to bother debating them or persuading them to think like me? No. I just go, they don't have a growth mindset. So no matter what I say, no matter how much grace I give them, no matter how much I show up, they're never going to hear it. And now, as a person that cares and is trying, that's only going to upset me. So the truth is, you have to embrace exactly who you're talking to, because if they don't have a growth mindset, if they are very traditional, if your experience has taught you that they're not going to see your way, I wouldn't actually say you should go into it trying to persuade her. And in fact, I literally was just having a discussion with my boy here, Pags. We were talking about being Greek Orthodox. And I was brought up as Greek Orthodox. And as I grew older, I started to have a growth mindset and ask myself the questions of, do I actually believe in this? Do you actually want children? Do you actually believe in God? And once I started to become comfortable within my own skin and say, I actually don't think I believe in God. I don't have all the answers, but I don't think that there's a man sitting on a cloud with a white beard. Once I was able to say that, I then basically was like, well, how do I tell my dad? And that's when it hit me. Why do I feel like I have to tell my dad? Right? And like, there's this language out there in social media. There's like, you do you, and don't you care about everybody else? I just don't abide by that. I abide by, you show up to be the person you absolutely want to be, and don't you make excuses for it. But do you have to tell every single human, every single thought you have? Otherwise you're being silenced. I don't think that's right. I respect my dad. I'm very secure in my own decision. So why do I need to tell him when I know all it's going to do is break his heart? So whatever it is that you want to address with your mom, really process why you want to address it in the first place. Because for me, with my dad, I had to ask myself, why do I actually want to tell my dad that I no longer want to believe in God? And when I realized, well, I don't want to be fake. And it's like, okay, well, you don't have to be fake. If he asks you, you can be honest. But in making this big declaration, I know all I'm doing is literally taking a knife and stabbing the man in the heart. Like, I know what that will emotionally do to him. He's a very traditional Greek Orthodox man. And so once I started to process that, I was like, oh, I don't need to tell him. So whatever it is that you want to discuss with your mom, please process those things first, and then come up with an actual answer of why you need to feel like you have to tell your mom. If it's because you're always feeling badly about yourself, is that something that she can change? Or do you just have to set boundaries between you and her?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I believe it's the boundary.
All right, let's have Jenny.
Thanks, Carms. All right. Hi, Lisa.
Well, tell me, I love your hair.
Thank you. I love your hair. I wish I could grow mine out. But I personally have had a life switch from one of the things that you said in your book, competence creates confidence. And that mindset has like shifted everything for me. My question has to do with failure though. You know, the mindset of like growth mindset can work, but emotions do get in the way. I know, like, you know what we all know. When you put your like life's work, blood, sweat, and tears, like everything, and it fails and that gut punch just hits you, how do you detach your like self-esteem and confidence in that moment? Because it just feels all too real and it does wear on you a bit. So like, I just want to know how to overcome that.
Yeah, dude, this is a really strong thing, because I really do think failure is a thing that holds so many of us back from doing anything. And so I have some mantras that I use on a day-to-day that really do help. So just because you fail doesn't mean you're a failure. I repeat that to myself all the time, because the second I can detach myself, to your point, right? If you can detach yourself from the actual failure itself, how do you use it as power? And so by detaching the words you use, instead of saying I'm a failure, it was like, no, you're not a failure. That failed. That's number one. Number two is we all think failure means something about us. And the truth is, it really does mean something about you, but not what you think. We think failure means that we're bad, that we're shit, we're terrible, we're no good, we're worthless. But the way that I've now pivoted, the way that I think about failure is failure means I care so much about my life that I'm willing to take a shot, even though I can get kicked in the face for it. Right. And now every time it happens, even if it doesn't feel real, and guys, you have to understand neurochemistry and habits. I will tell myself something 1,000 times before I actually believe it. So everything I'm saying, when I'm saying, oh, tell yourself that you're not a failure, you will still feel like a failure, but you have to start somewhere. So you just maybe have to promise yourself every single time I fail, I'm going to pick up this and I'm going to say out loud, I am not a failure, even though it failed, right? Like come up with ways that you can start to develop a new freaking habit. Don't beat yourself up over the habit that exists, right? Be truthful. Say, hey, and you are, which is, I think, beautiful. You're addressing this as something about you. Cool. I've got a bad behavior that when something fails, I think it means something about me. That's a habit loop. How am I going to unwire that habit loop? I am going to, for 30 days, every single morning, repeat this mantra. Every time I fail, I'm going to pick up my phone and I've got a quote in my phone that I'm going to read out loud. I'm going to look in the mirror. I'm going to repeat this to myself 10 times every time I fail. And things that I'm saying, guys, you're going to laugh. You're going to think you're stupid. You're going to be like, this feels terrible. I think Lisa's nuts that this works. Just keep doing it. Repetition is what creates your habit. And right now, we're all in habit loops that says when we fail, we should feel badly because we're terrible. That's our habit loop that we've developed since childhood. So don't beat yourself up. Just think, I'm 43. It took me 43 years to develop a habit of telling myself every time I fail that, Lisa, you're useless. All right, 43 years of a habit. I think I can give myself grace that the first time I try it, I'm not going to nail it. That a year after I try it, I may not nail it. But what I do, so I don't seek perfection, please write that down as well. What I do seek is how long it took me from failure to getting the F back up. Maybe it took me a week because I'm on the floor, licking my wounds, telling myself I'm no good. Then I'm pulling myself out of that habit loop and it's like, oh my God, I'm finally just out of it. And it took me a week. All right. Write down how long it actually takes you guys. Because the beautiful thing is now it's day one. And now what you're going to do is develop this habit, like I just told you, because it's very tactical. Someone else said it on here. Lisa, I was surprised it was very tactical. Because I can't get out of my own freaking way, guys. I have to be tactical. So I just say for 30 days, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be consistent. And now I'm going to pride myself, not on being perfect, but I'm going to pride myself on being the person that it used to take a week for me to fail and get back up. And now, oh my God, guys, it only took me 6 days. And then it took me 5. And now it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And you can see how all along the way, I'm not seeking perfection and beating myself up that I'm not there. I'm patting myself on the freaking back because it used to take me 7 days and now it only takes me 6. That's how you're going to encourage yourself to just keep going when you feel like shit and you really are telling yourself that you're no good. And then one more thing I'm just going to add, you guys may not have gotten there yet, but I wrote specifically titled the chapter, When the Shit Hits the Fan, Wear Goggles. Because I wanted people to freaking stop worrying about if the shit's going to hit the fan or not. Guys, the shit will hit the fan. And so now what I want you to focus on is instead of will it, I want you to focus on when it does, what the hell am I going to do to clean up the mess quickly, right? Wear the goggles. So that's like my metaphor of stop priding yourself on if it hits the fan, just say to yourself, it will, but I'm the type of person that's going to be able to take that time frame and make it shorter and shorter and shorter, where I get to the point where I take a punch to the face and I bounce back up immediately.
Thank you. That was so good. Hey, Lisa, we're going to take a screenshot before we forget later.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. All right. I
Some
love
people
it.
might have to go to work on stuff too. So, all right. So I'm going to count down to 5, and then you guys all strike your most confident pose, okay? And someone here is going to take a screenshot. Delia, please. There's 3 pages of you, so I'm just going to flick through it. Okay, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, hold your pose. I'm flipping through the pages. All right, next one. All right, right. All right, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more page. One more page. Oh, a lot of them have like a black screen. All right, turn your camera on. Turn your camera on. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm sure someone got those. Thank you so much. All right.
That was amazing.
For about 10 more minutes. All right, so let's go, Lorena.
And I'll try and maybe keep my answers short. I'm trying to.
The show and sweet now.
I know, guys. Here's the thing, guys, is that if I give a blanket answer or if I give a quick statement, you're going to be inspired for 3 seconds. And then as soon as you hang up the Zoom, you're going to go back to your old life. And so, again, it's so damn important to me that, like, you don't do that. So that's why it's hard for me to just give a very quick answer, because I'm like, oh, but you have to understand this piece. So, no. Even that, see, I can talk a lot.
Lorena,
right, next.
Let's go.
Thank you so much for doing this. I mean, like everyone said, is an amazing it's an amazing read. So my question is kind of connected to what you've been saying so far. So in business wise, when things are not happening fast enough, you know, like any new business does. Sorry, how do you find that internal like pep talk inside of you to keep going? Because yeah, I've been struggling, and I don't have someone to like talk to me and say like, oh, so I have to do it myself. But I'm in like a little rut business wise to just kind of like keep focusing on the vision. So how did you manage to do that when you were like starting in the early stages of everything?
Yeah, so I think I understood the question. So let me try and answer what I think you're looking for. So I'm always very tactical, because on days where I don't get motivated, I sometimes just go on autopilot, and that's the freaking truth. And I figured out autopilot and doing stuff is better than not doing anything and feeling like really deflated. And so when I create a game plan of what I'm going to do, so like, for instance, I don't know about you guys, if you guys already like all your goals and dreams, have you figured out what the hell you're doing for 2023? Do you know where you should be in December? Oh my God, already. I knew you would, Harry. Because if you haven't, that's what you need to do. So I know where I'm trying to be at the end of 2023. I know what metrics I'm trying to hit. I spread those metrics out between quarters. So if we're speaking very specifically business, I say no bullshit. What would it take for me to actually hit that metric? So for instance, if I say I want to get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is actually a real goal. So there you go. I want to get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Okay, right now, I currently do 1 interview a week. I have an average growth of my YouTube channel. It's not good enough. I'm not happy at all. And so I go, cool, you're not happy. You're still putting a lot of time and energy into it. So to your point, maybe I can get deflated in moments like this. I'm like, what the hell? I'm working all these hours. I'm really showing, I'm paying attention. Like, I'm doing all the things. And yet I'm not seeing those results. So then, as you will find me, is like, okay, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So what are the things that I can test to see if it's going to get me to that 1 million? So for instance, right now, I just write a plan. So the plan is your answer basically to this question. But how you do that plan can vary, but this is just kind of how I break down the plan. So cool, I want to get to 1 million. Let's say on average, I grow 15,000 subscribers a month on average. Cool. Okay, I've got my metrics. I know I grow at 15,000 on average with 1 episode. No bullshit. What would it take for me to get 1 million by January, right? So if I'm at 670, wherever I'm at, sorry, my mind is blank today. I think I told you that earlier. Where am I? Did you say something, Delia? No, I thought Delia jumped in. So, so I go, cool. Right now, based on my average, I'm going to hit 1 million in like July. That shit ain't good enough. it's just not good enough. And that's the pressure I put on myself. That isn't for anyone else. That isn't, oh my God, other people want you to go. No. I've got my goals. I know where I'm trying to get. You heard I need to get to Reese Witherspoon. So to get to Reese Witherspoon, you better believe I've got to have the millions of followers. So I kind of do just go, okay, I know where I need to get to. I know what metrics I need to get to. And now, no bullshit. What would it take for me to 2x my growth? No bullshit. What would it take for me to 3x my growth? And so I just play that game to then put in, okay, if I need to 2x my growth or 3x, maybe I have to release 3 episodes a week. Theoretically, that should 3x my subscribers, theoretically. So now I say, is that the life I want? If it is, even on days I feel deflated, because I've processed where I'm going, what it's going to take, I've created my game plan, even on days that I'm not motivated, even on days where I feel the slump, even on days where my episode tanks, I've still got my game plan. So there's no room for me to stay down. There's no room for me not to show up. I'm like, all right, Lisa, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. So that's from a business strategy standpoint, that I need my strategy. I need my metrics. I need my goals. I need a path to know how I show up in order to get to the goal that I am looking for. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. It kind of clarifies and puts together everything you've been mentioning. So thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I know you have to go soon, so I'm gonna sneak myself a question in before.
Hell yeah!
So I love
In
getting
fact,
book
I'm going
recommendations.
to, before you don't agree, in case people have to go, the only thing that actually I will request, if the book brought you value, in fact, even if the book didn't bring you value, be honest. If you don't mind, the only ask is good to go over to Amazon and rate and review. That's the, again, only. Now,
Amazing.
I used to say if it brings you value, but I'm like, no, that's actually now me dictating that you guys should give me a good start. And the truth was, in my own evolution of writing this book, I said to myself, of course you want freaking 5 stars. And of course you want thousands and thousands of reviews, but that won't serve me because I won't know what worked and what didn't, or what people liked and what didn't. So I actually stop myself from now saying, going, if it brought you value, I'm always just saying, please do go and be accurate in your response, because if I get 5-star and that's true, now I fucking got something, right? Now I know what thread to keep pulling on. But if everyone hates it, while that will sting, I just know never pull on that thread again, Lisa, and pivot.
Yes, great. Yes, I'm sure we'll all do that. We'll give our honest review. All right, so I also saw this post you made this morning, Lisa. You've got some sort of Black Friday bundle thing. Can you tell us about that? Because I know people is loving your book and some people didn't have a chance to get it yet. But if there's a package of some sort, then I'm pretty sure they'll be interested. So let us know what that is, because I saw it and there was no details. So what was that about? Because it was a book, some program, and some kind of ultimate guide. What is it?
Yeah, thank you so much. So every time I try anything or do anything, I'm always trying to think about the worst case scenario. And so this is just like a bit of an insight into how I make business decisions, if you guys are interested. So I'm always thinking the worst case scenario, right? What's the worst case? What could I lose financially? What's the backlash you're going to get on anything? Like, I'm always trying to think of that. And if I'm okay with all of that, then just do it, right? Be yourself. So that was actually how I decided to step in front of the camera, because I was so petrified to step in front of the camera. And then I processed it. I was like, what's the worst that can happen? Well, screw it. If people don't like you, they don't like you. Get in front of the camera and then you will see. So anyway, so with my Black Friday, I was like, this is my first time I'm doing an offer. So I was like, what do I do? I don't know. And so the truth was, so Delia, my homie right there, me and the team got together and we're like, North Star, know what your freaking North Star is. And the thing that we always say here at Impact Theory is bring so much value that they cannot wait to do it, right? Because then if someone comes back and was like, I don't want to spend that money, cool, don't. I feel very good about the fact that I'm bringing overly valuing it. And so when it comes to your self-worth, guys, this is important. This is so important. I really struggled with my self-worth. And so this is how I'm able to show up. It's like, make yourself feel so good about yourself, Lisa, that even despite people throwing shade or hate, because let's face it, the world we live in, it's going to be inevitable. You can't control that. But how do you do things that make you feel good enough for yourself that even when someone comes to you and tries to tear you down or tries to say that you're worthless, you are so grounded in that identity. And so as we were developing this, it was like, it has to be so overvalued that it actually brings value to someone's life. So I am doing the ebook. The reason why I've got the ebook as part of it is because it's very important to me. My mission statement is on helping women on a global scale. My mission statement does not say help women in the United States. So that's another reason why you need a mission statement, because it will dictate exactly how you show up and what you do. And so that was very important to me. So because of my mission statement, I was like, oh, well, that immediately knocks out the fact that I would offer the physical book because it's important to me. So it's the ebook. It's my ultimate guide that I think goes for, God, I really should be prepared for this. Delia, like $35, I want to say. Goes for something like that.
But it's in that ballpark. Don't quote me.
Yeah, this is where I should have been prepared. So my apologies. But
At least they know I didn't cue you for it.
yeah, I literally had no idea that you were going to mention this. Or that's so kind of you. And then it's my 10-part course. Now, here's the other thing, guys. I'm the type of person, you never would have caught me dead in a self-help aisle. Did you guys ever see, and here's is where Lisa always derails a conversation. Did you ever see do you watch Sex in the City? Put your hand up.
Yeah.
All right. Who watched the episode? I don't know if you remember this, but Charlotte was getting a divorce. And so she's like looking for like divorce books. And so she's walking, they're like, oh, go to the self-help aisle. And so she walks into the self-help aisle and she looks and it like turns black and white. And you've got like women on the floor crying and you've got, like people acting dramatic. And so she kind of walks by it as if she wasn't going to stop there. And she's like, cooking section? Because she's so perceived that the self-help aisle meant something that didn't resonate with her. And that's where I found myself. I went to a Tony Robbins event, guys. 3 tickets. Quest was sponsoring it. I had front row freaking seats. Front row. At Tony Robbins, I was there for 20 minutes and I was like, I need to get the F out because I feel like I need to I'd rather poke myself in the eye right now as an excuse to get out of this place. So I was like, and I love Tony. I've met him multiple times. He's a great human, but I'm not that person that goes into those types of events, those types of book aisles. And so when I wrote this book, I was like, it needs to be for the person like me that actually loves self-help, but doesn't want to call it self-help. So the reason why I said all of that, guys, is my course. I did just like that. I was like, I'm not that person. I've never even watched fully. Don't say anything, Delia. But I haven't watched all of my husband's coaching. Don't tell him. But I haven't watched all of them. Now, granted, the man has hundreds and hundreds of hours of coaching courses, but it's not my jam. And so when I was going to do a course, I was like, fuck everything else. I'm going to do a course that is my freaking jam. And so in this course, and so sorry, that was a long way of coming back around, but I offer my 10-part confidence course, but it's in my style. I dress up as a superhero. I show you and look, of course I attach it just like the book to mindset, but I'm very entertaining. I dress up, I have fun with it. So anyway, that 10-part course isn't like everything else, but if you like the book, it is very in line with who I am and what the book is. So to say all that, I've got the ebook, the ultimate guide, and then my 10-part confidence course, guys. I'm slashing 50% off. So this is just for Black Friday. So it goes for collectively around $300, and I've got it on offer right now for $145.
All right, I'll get the details of Delia, and then I'll share it with the book club.
Amazing.
I'll send the link for it.
Before you head off,
thank you. I have it here on a post-it as well.
Yeah, I love
bundle.radicalconfidence. Sorry, if someone was interested.
Radicalconfidence.com.
Yeah. It's bundle.radicalconfidence.com.
Bundle.radicalconfidence.com.
Boom.
Yeah, good. If someone could type that in, that would be awesome. Okay, so I love getting book recommendation. Is there a book that you are into at the moment, like with one of your homies, that you will recommend?
Ooh, I read so many books now because I have to interview.
Yeah.
I haven't read this yet, but I can show you a sneak peek. You want to see a sneak peek or something?
Yeah, for sure.
So I actually haven't read this yet, but he's coming on my show. So Jay Shetty, if you guys know who Jay Shetty is.
Of course.
I've been the amount of times that me and Jay have been going back and forth. Like, dude, you got to come on my show, but I have to find a reason. Like, I can't just have guys on my show. Like, that doesn't resonate with me. It's like you either have to bring, you have to serve my female audience. And so Jay Shetty, I just love him to bits, but it's never been right. But now he's got a book, and I just saw it in the mail. It just came today, so I haven't read it yet. So it's about relationships. Yeah. So it's called 8 Rules of Love. So he's coming next week. So he's I'm interviewing him. But so again, I haven't read it, but it's Jay freaking Shetty. How wrong can you go with that? And then I do read a lot of books.
Do you think Jay would want to come in?
Oh, I don't know. That's not. I have no idea. The dude's pretty busy. I have no idea. I don't know if I could. Yeah, I don't know. Is the answer to that.
Well, we'll look out for the book. That sounds cool.
Amazing. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys use Audible, but this is also Audible is my I listen at 3x. So that's how sometimes, guys, if I've got 3 interviews in 1 week and I've got 3 books to read, I have to listen to it at fast pace. So if you wonder what 3x sounds like, do you guys know what 3x sounds like?
That's crazy. Wouldn't it sound like kind of like Chipmunk?
The Chipmunk song?
It is a Chipmunk song, exactly. So anyway, I basically do it at 3x, and I've got my Audible here. And then, but someone like Jay's, for instance, and this is just now me, Lisa, trying to give more advice on anything that could possibly be of value. If you have a PDF, so this is another tip of like from a business standpoint. Like Jay, his book is out, but it's not actually out yet. So I don't have Audible because Audible hasn't released. I don't freaking have time to sit and read this. Jesus, imagine trying to read 3 of these in a week and prepare for an interview and run a company. And as you can imagine, right? And. So there's this thing that I have called Speechify, which actually this is like the second time I'm talking about it today. It's an app that I take the PDF. So they always send, whenever you're doing an interview, pre-interview, they always send the PDF. So I take the PDF, I put it into an app called Speechify, and you can choose accents. And so when I was writing my own book, as I was doing my reviews, so the publisher sends it to you, you write it, you send it back to them, they redline the hell out of it, they get it back to you. And so my process of writing my own book is I started to experiment with how do people read books, audio, on a Kindle, or physical. So every time, like no bullshit, what would it take to write a book when you have no idea to write a book? That was my answer. Every day I will reread my book and I will make changes. And each day I would do a different platform. So day 1, I would do it on my computer the entire day. Day 2, I would do it as Audible through Speechify, and I would put on a British accent. So it sounded a female British accent. So it's kind of like I was reading it to myself.
Lisa,
but anyway, that was.
After I just
Thank you. Thank you. Love. Come on, big it up for Delia right now, keeping me on track. But that was one more piece that, guys, if it's business, if it's work, when you're trying to, time is very precious. And if you're a people pleaser and give all your time to everybody else, how the hell do you save time for yourself? These are the tips that I do of how do I condense my work so that I can spend more time of self-care and taking care of myself. So I just want to throw that piece in.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for being on here. We appreciate your time.
Guys, thank you so much. And thank you for just hosting this. This has honestly been such a sweet and kind and gracious way for me to, join you guys and really hear from you. It's so difficult. Actually, so difficult is a lie. And this is where Lisa doesn't shut up. When you're in front of the camera, you don't know how people are going to respond. You just don't. When you're writing a book, you don't know how people are going to respond. And so honestly, guys, when I say this means the world to me, it really freaking means the world to me. Delia, homie, you're always freaking showing up. Like, she pushes this shit. Like, just how do we impact more and more and more? So I want everyone to make sure that they absolutely give a big, huge round of applause to Delia. And then Calms, homie, my homie. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate you all.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you immensely. It's going to change our life for sure, you just being on here. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day, Lisa.
Bye,
Get some rest.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Lisa. And Delia.
Bye.
How did you guys enjoy that?
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh
So
my
good.
God.
Wasn't that amazing? We totally went overtime. I don't know if you guys have to work, but you know.
Oh yeah, you guys are in morning time, right? In Australia, it's morning over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah, I
playing
think half of
hooky. You're
these people are sneaking
bad.
outside of work.
Someone went to book
Early
club on
morning
company
here.
time. Who did it? Raise your hand. Who's on company time right now? Betty's off screen, but she was laughing. All right, Brenda.
Yeah, so sorry guys, obviously we've got Lisa for a limited time. We actually got her for much longer than we anticipated, and so we're super lucky to have
Lucky that
much.
meeting got canceled. Woo! For canceled meetings.
So I'm sorry for the people that didn't get to ask your question. It's one of those things, right? I did give priority to the people that is regularly at book club. So just so you, in case you put your hand up first and you're like, how come she's not picking me? That is why, because they've been supporting the book club the whole time, right? So that makes sense, right? Does anyone want to have any shares before we close it off? Oh, you guys are like, okay, I'm ready to go now. I need to go home and go to work.
I grabbed a lot of great pictures for everybody who did ask a question with Lisa. I'll send them to Farm so that she can share them.
I will definitely be sharing this. So what I will do, I will post a screenshot up for you guys. So I'll tag as many of you as possible. I will leave an email for you, just, you know, if it's the first time you're here and you go, what, a book club actually exists? Yeah. So I'll drop the link for that so you know where to find us if you want to continue, because we actually continue reading Lisa's book. So next week and the week after. So yeah, if you want to continue the fun, join us next week. I'll shoot you guys on email for all the people that have registered. I will have your email from when you first came in. So I will do that. I'll grab the link as well, the bundle thing from Lisa in case we didn't catch it. So I'll drop it all in there for you guys, and you have an amazing day. I will see you all.